Hello, my lords and ladies, and welcome to part one of our Goblin Rock Lobber Warhammer Old World painting series. It's going to be a 5-part series, so been looking to paint this or just get a new scheme down for your goblins. This is pretty easy. Now, these are metal, but they're pretty easy to put together. First off, I want to thank all my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button down below. Hit the thumbs up, hit the bell. Pretty easy. Nothing too crazy. It's your first time painting metal. It's a little weird. But without further ado, let's go. Alright, the first thing that I did was built the miniature, and you need super glue with the metal, taking off all the pieces. It's kind of a pain. Next, I put some paste down on it, some Stirland Mud or whatever you got, and then I spray painted it in black and then some white from top, and you are ready to rock. So all of the skin we're doing in Gut Rippa Flesh. This is going to speed up the process. Trust the process. At certain points you're going to be like, this looks terrible, but it's not. It's going to turn out great. Trust me, trust me, trust me. But yeah. Alright, for our tunic and for our little wrappy areas around the hands and whatnot, we're going to do some Snakebite Leather. Now, this contrast paint that we're using is perfect on top of the white with the dark. It gives you that natural highlight where if you didn't really want to, you didn't need to do highlights, but I'm putting some highlights in because I love goblins. That is my jam. That's my go-to, so we put a little extra work, love, and care into them. For the next wraps around the legs and the left arm of our Goblin Rock Lobber carrier person, we're going to use some Skeleton Horde. For the giant rock itself, we're going to use some Basilicanum Grey. You can thin this with some Lamia Medium and make that white really stick out. I just did straight out of the pot because we're going to do some dry brushing and some highlights on it here in a little bit. Alright, for our teeth and our toenails and fingernails, we're going to use some Morghast Bone. Just be a little cognizant when painting this on the rock areas, and then with the lips and stuff, you want to make sure you don't get any of that anywhere, or else you have to go over it again with Gut Rippa Flesh. For the little string necklace coming down our goblin's neck, we're going to use some Mournfang Brown. If you wanted to use Snakebite Leather, Skeleton Horde, Wildwood, whatever contrast paint you got, you could also use that. It is up to you. I just feel like using Mournfang Brown. And with our final base coat, pretty simple. We're going to use some Retributor Armour on the earring. Yeah, that's it. Alright, we're going to use 2 shades here, and we're going to use the skin. We're going to use some Biel Tan Green. If you wanted to use some camo shade, you can also use that as well. It's going to look terrible after you put the shade on. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Again, you got to trust the process. For the brown areas and the teeth, we're going to use some Agrax Earthshade. You can also put this onto the earring as well, and the bone necklace area around the goblin's neck. Alright, we're already in the highlight phase of our miniature, and we're going to dry brush some Dawnstone onto this rock to give it some life. I used some gray Seer to kind of draw some lines, but it would probably be better to just do a dry brush of gray Seer or an off-white Ministratum gray, something like that. I think that would look better, so I would advise doing that instead of drawing the lines on like I just did. Alright, now for the skin, the focal point of this miniature, we're going to go over all of our raised areas with some Skarsnik Green. Now this is very basic. You're just going over all of the areas. Do not get anything into the recesses, and you know. Once you're satisfied with your original base coat, you're going to put some Ogryn Camo. Now, if you want to do this in a 3-part, you can do a 50-50 mix of Ogryn Camo and Skarsnik Green, and then you can go fully over with some Ogryn Camo, or just put some highlight dots here and there with the Ogryn Camo. Focusing on the bridge of the nose, the eyebrows, the cheekbones, the tips of the ears, the legs exposed, the biceps, the fingers, that type of stuff. You don't need to get it all over the place, the belly that's coming down. But with the Ogryn Camo, if you're going to use it fully without mixing it with some Snarsnik, you kind of need to use it a little bit sparingly. Alright, for our little teeth and all of the other bone areas, we're just going to do a quick reapplication of Morghast Bone. Pretty simple right there. And then for a highlight on those teeth and other Morghast Bone areas, just some Screaming Skull. That gives it that white bone look with some of that Morghast Bone undertone. That is phenomenal. Alright, for our wraps, and I kind of messed these up. Not perfect. Nobody is. I used some Karak Stone on there. I got a little too much on my brush. And I messed this up a little bit. But you can either keep them the way they are, or you can just add just a little bit. You can also use a little bit of Baal Brown or some other small or light colored brown. For our leather areas, it was originally done in Snakebite Leather. We're going to use some Gorthor Brown on there. And I'm just kind of going over, picking out the raised areas and the edges, and then on the edges on the skirt area. Alright, for the eyes, I'm going to put a little bit of dot of white in there, just a tiny little bit, and then just a little dot of Baal Red, just to kind of give it some nice red-looking eyes, matching the art that is on the Warhammer website. And since we already did our base, I'm going to put some Aggaros Dunes on there. Pretty simple. You could do a dry brush of something else if you would like after that, but I just keep it as is. And then once that completely dries, put some grass tufts or sprinkle some flock on there, whatever you would like, with some PVA glue. And then your favorite part of painting the miniature, because it means you're done, is the rim of the base. And we are doing it in Steel Legion Drab. I know this is out of the norm, but this is fantasy. They're on a, battlefield of grass. That's where we're going to keep it. And that is all she wrote. And that looked pretty good. Now, that's how I typically do goblins. I might change things here and there, but for the most part, those are very basic goblins, especially this tiny little guy that's loading rocks into the Lobber. But, that's how I like to do it. Well, thank you for watching. If you are a subscriber, thank you for subscribing. And to all my YouTube members, you guys are absolutely amazing. You guys are going to get early access to this on the Sunday before it releases, like the rest of the videos for the week. So, thank you for doing that. We've got some more stuff coming up. But stay tuned, hit that follow button. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next one. Paint on.